Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is all about the luxury that I am ditching. This is off the back of a big declutter that I did. I did a few videos on this, but let me tell you, that whole process, I was really dreading it and it's made me feel so much better. I got really into it and towards the end, I actually found it to be very, very therapeutic. And it also really made me look at my collection, look at what I had in my wardrobe, and really made me evaluate what I loved, what I didn't love, and what I wanted to focus on going forward. So that's kind of what I'm sharing in this video. It's only focusing in on luxury, and I'm sharing the luxury which I'm ditching either because I think it looks a little bit dated now, or otherwise just because I'm not fully in love with it. And I'm going to be sharing what I'm going to be focusing on instead in my collection. So I hope you guys enjoy this, and let's get started. So first up on the luxury that I'm ditching is the over-the-top statement shoe, specifically when it comes to kind of gladiator sandals or just over-the-top caged shoes. And my example here are my Aqua Zeros, which I bought a few years ago and I do like, but to be honest, I barely got any wear out of these. And that's really because I'm not much of a statement shoe girl. I really like my shoes to be quite neutral and minimal and just easy to pair, because I don't often plan my entire outfit around my shoe. Usually they're an afterthought, and so I always found it very difficult to get on board with shoes which are really designed to be the kind of focus of your look. So these did not get much use, and I do feel like the kind of caged look and the gladiator look is looking a tiny bit dated now. So these were a no-brainer for me to get rid of. I am quite sad because one, they're a lot of money and I absolutely did not get my money's worth out of them. And I do think they're a cool looking shoe, but I just had to make some space. I had to be honest in that not only do I not reach for these, but they're just not in keeping with how I dress. So a lovely one and a beautifully made shoe. But yeah, gladiator sandals, I don't feel like they're as much of a thing, and certainly these were not getting a lot of use in my wardrobe. The next luxury that I'm ditching is kind of a whole category, and it is mini bags which are structured usually from more directional designers. And I say it like that because when I was cleaning out my closet, I noticed a pattern in what I was buying, particularly with newer brands, because often, you know, a new bag brand will come out and there are a lot of them about at the moment, and I'll be really intrigued by it. I'll want to try something, and so I will usually go for a mini bag. Usually they are the cheaper ones, you know, generally speaking, the bigger the bag, the more expensive it is. So I will usually try out a mini bag. I love mini bags anyway, and usually what I end up with is a very, very mini bag that is very structured, which just doesn't have enough capacity or functionality to make it useful for me. And I actually have 3 examples. So I have my Pauline bag, which pretty structured and very, very tiny, no give, and I just barely use this. My next example is my Ula Johnson basket bag. I actually have 2 of these, and even though this isn't super small, it is very structured, and so there is no give at all. And what I've realized is I really like the flexibility of being able to stuff a bag full if I want to, and if it's super structured, I can't do that. Another example is my Mansa Gabrielle circle bag. Just such a pattern, I realized, and often I'll see these kind of bags on fashion editors during fashion week, and you know, they can look anything, look cool in their street style shots, and I just won't think about the practicality of my daily life. So that is 100% something that I focused on. A lot of these were just kind of cleaned out in my closet declutter, and that's definitely something I'm going to be aware of to stay away from really tiny structured bags. Next up is PVC, and I mentioned this as a trend which I actually didn't think was going to have great staying power, and for me this is an easy one to kind of let go of. I'm not feeling particularly inspired by it. This is a PVC Stout, if that's how you say the brand, bag, and what I did actually like about it, and I still kind of do, is the fact that you did have this little pouch which you could just take out and use by itself. But still, like, as an overall handbag, and this wasn't particularly cheap, it's just really not gotten a lot of use, and already I feel like it is beginning to look a little bit dated, and I'm just not super into the PVC look anymore. Again, I mentioned in a video, I think a week or so ago, that I do think that PVC has its kind of place, you know, when you're going to a beach party or a festival or something like that. Like, I get it, but this is kind of like a top handle, so it's more like a, you know, going to lunch type of bag, and there are just so many others that I like more in my collection. And going forward, I really want to focus on kind of beautiful materials, which I don't really think that PVC or plastic is. So an easy one to ditch, and in general, I'm going to be staying away from PVC bags. Next up, I do feel like it's going to be a little bit of a controversial one, but it is my Valentino Rockstuds, and I'm going to massively caveat this by saying that I think the Valentino Rockstud is still a very, very classic shoe, and I feel like it's completely earned its place in the classic shoe world. I think it's a beautiful design, but I am reducing the number of Rockstuds that I own because I just went overboard, and truth be told, I just don't wear them anymore. And I actually got this pair, and you can see these are brand new. I've never actually worn these. I got these off the back of my black ones, which, I mean, you can see I've worn these to death. Like, they are very, very worn. I've had to get them re-heeled. That's how much I wore them. These were just like my constant go-to kind of fancy but manageable heels. And so I thought, I love these so much, I'm gonna get another pair. And sometimes that kind of logic works out for me, and sometimes it doesn't. And I think I own 6 pairs of Rockstuds now, including the kind of flats and gladiator sandals. And I just don't reach for them anywhere near enough to justify that amount of Rockstuds. So for me, I don't think that they're as popular as they once were. I don't think they're kind of looking too dated or anything like that, but I just have to be honest about what I'm reaching for and really, really loving, and these just aren't that anymore. So I'm downsizing my collection. I would never get rid of my black ones just because I love them so much, but certainly the ones where I haven't been reaching for them, it's an easy one for me to get rid of. Still loving my gladiator sandals as well, and I would really recommend those. They are so comfy and great, but for my paler, kind of more pointy toe ones, I've just not been loving them as much. The next luxury that I'm ditching are wedge shoes, and I have 2 examples here, and to be honest, this could kind of apply to the general category of wedge shoes rather than just luxury, but I do have a luxury pair here, which again, these have not gotten a lot of use. These are my Jimmy Choo ones, and I don't think I'm gonna part ways with these yet. I did get these, I think it was last summer or maybe the summer before, but I've not worn these at all. Like, they're brand new, and I think I just kind of overestimated my need for this kind of shoe. And to be honest, shoe designs have just gone in a completely different direction, I feel. You know, they're very pared back and minimal now. We're seeing a lot more kitten heels, and generally shoes are more barely there in terms of style versus a wedge, which, I mean, you definitely couldn't call it barely there, even in a nude colorway. You know, they're quite chunky, you know, they're quite a substantial shoe. And the shoe trends now just seem to be going more in the direction of kind of strappy sandals and the barely there look. The exception to that, of course, are chunky sneakers, but they're not exactly something that I gravitate towards either. So for me, I'm definitely going to be staying away from wedges. Here is a pair of boots I decided to part ways with. This is a wedge style. Thankfully, these weren't as expensive as the Jimmy Choos, but this is another example of shoe which, for me, it is beginning to look a little bit dated, and I just don't reach for this kind of thing anymore. So sad, because wedges are quite comfortable, but I do also love a kitten heel, and they seem to be all the rage at the moment. So wedges are a bit of a no for me, but I'm very happy about the new trend of barely there strappy sandals. The next luxury that I am staying away from is more of a general category, and to be honest, this wasn't one that I was heavily invested in at the moment, but it is one that I've loved in the past and one that I'm definitely staying away from going forward, and that is more novelty luxury. And here I'm thinking of things like the Moschino collections. You know, sometimes they have those really quirky designs. Even some of the Chanel collections, I remember they released their candy jewelry themed collection, and I loved it. I thought it was so cute. Some of the wackier Louis Vuitton collections, and it's really that kind of gimmicky luxury that is still priced super high but almost feels a lot more like fast fashion, that I really want to make a conscious effort to stay away from. I don't know if it's just because I'm getting older or even because of the current situation, but my appetite for that kind of fast fashion gimmicky luxury has just completely gone away, and now all I really want to focus in on for future luxury purchases are just beautiful items which I think are going to stand the test of time, that are well made, well designed, and that I'm going to be happy to still have my collection in 5 or 10 years time if I still love the items. So for me, novelty kind of gimmicky luxury is definitely one that I'm staying away from. And then finally, the last luxury that I am ditching is my Gucci Marmont items. And I only have 2 left, but I am parting ways with both of these. So I have my nude bag and my belt. My belt was actually a really easy decision because I do have a replacement. I did get a Louis Vuitton belt, which I'm just loving much more. And For me, I don't even think that it's like the Marmont line is super dated. I know there are some people who think that it's had its time, very dated now. I'm not fully of that opinion, you know, it's definitely less popular than it once was, but I still don't think it looks like old-fashioned or anything like that. But for me, for the belt at least, it was just overkill. I wore this so much and I just went totally overboard. It was my first kind of luxury belt and I loved it so much, and I wore it with everything from jeans to skirts, dresses, everything I could pair it with, I did pair it with. And because of that, I think I just got tired of it because I just wore it like every single opportunity I could, and it was just too much. So I just don't get excited by this anymore. I am really excited about the newer belts that I got, but yeah, this one was an easy one for me to get rid of. My bag, however, was a much harder decision, and I think it was because I really remembered how much I loved it, and I guess I just had a lot of residual love left over as a result of that. You know, I don't love it as much anymore, I don't reach for it anymore, but I do remember that there was a time this was my favorite bag. I wore it every chance that I could, and I just have a lot of good memories with it, which made it really hard. But I was also horrified by the number of handbags that I owned. I didn't realize I owned that many, and I made the decision that I could only keep things which I love right now, as opposed to just keeping hold of things for sentimental value, especially when I have that many bags. So this one was a really tough decision. Again, I'm more on the fence in terms of the whole dated argument, but for me, I know I'm not getting joy out of them anymore, so this was a difficult but a necessary decision. And now that I've spoken about all the luxury that I am ditching and no longer in love with, I thought I'd also share the luxury that I'm going to be focusing more on in the future. And first up is mock croc. I first fell in love with mock croc with my Givenchy Antigona. I owned other mock croc pieces, but it was really this item which made me fall in love with the print. And I just think it's such a lovely way of elevating your look. It adds a really nice element of texture to whatever you're wearing. I just think it looks so luxurious. So I love this. I love this bag, but I love so many other styles in mock croc as well. I have my eye on a new bag from Elmi, which they've done in a beautiful mock croc burgundy. So stunning, and I just love the effect it gives any look. It's just such an easy way to instantly elevate your outfit. So I'm a huge fan of both this bag and mock croc in general, and I'm definitely going to be focusing more on it in future. The next thing that I'm going to be focusing in on is size, and really focusing more on small to medium sized bags. For years I thought that I was really an oversized bag girl, that I loved my oversized bags, and that might have been true before, but now I really appreciate something that's just more in proportion with the rest of my outfit and look. So for me, small to medium sized bags is where it's at. You know, I used to love my Louis Vuitton GM so much, but ever since I got my MM, this has absolutely been the bag for me. Similarly, ever since I got my small Givenchy Antigona, I haven't touched my medium-sized one. So really focusing in on just sizes that I know work well, as opposed to just always going for the largest bag size I can, which is what I previously used to do. And the next thing that I'm absolutely focusing in on is color, and really gravitating towards neutrals and shades that I already know work. You know, I've owned enough bags over the years to know where my mistakes have been, and for me, paying attention to tone is so important. I think neutrals are always a safe bet because they just never go out of style. You know, black, nude, tan, those are shades which always come back into fashion, and then just occasionally mixing it up with colors which I know I love, like, you know, pink, maybe the odd shade of red, blue, but really paying attention to tone. So for example, I know that really kind of bright candy pink shades don't work well for me, but I love pale pinks. Similarly, I know that I don't reach for turquoise shades, but I do like lighter, softer shades of blue. And even when it comes to things like reds, you know, I love burgundies and I find them so easy to work with, but I really don't like orange-based reds. So just putting all that knowledge together and really identifying the colors and the tones that I know work. And finally, the last luxury that I'm going to be focusing in on is time-tested colorways and patterns. And me, one of the things that really stood out, one of the items that really stood out was my Louis Vuitton Placide. I love this bag and I rarely talk about it, and I really should more because it's just such a constant favorite for me. You know, it's never a bag that I use constantly, but it's always one that I consistently reach for, and I find it an incredibly easy style to pair, especially with the colorway I went for. You know, monogram I think is pretty classic from Louis Vuitton. I did get it in the brown, which isn't a typical color choice for me, but I loved how it looked with the monogram. I thought it kind of paired really well. I do just have the black strap, and this is just such an easy one that seems to go with so many different outfits, and it's really made me appreciate just very traditional, very classic colorways which have really stood the test of time, and for good reason. So I still love this, I still use it and get a lot of enjoyment out of it, so I'm going to try and think about this more when it comes to future purchases. So that is it for this video, guys. I hope that you enjoyed it. Let me know if there's any luxury which you are just so over that you're ditching and taking out of your closet in the comment section below. If you have any questions for me, then leave me a comment, and if you enjoyed the video, please do give this a thumbs up. As always, thank you so much for watching. I will see you in my next one. Bye, guys.